on the show, or am I good? Am I just somewhere?
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay,
you're
cool.
live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight, I tell you, we're going to do some talking about gardening, manifesting, moon manifesting with your garden, and a little bit of everything else. Believe it or not, we got some great guests for you tonight. And as you all know, our healthy gardener guy of all trades and all respects, Zig Zag Zilla. And my extra co-host here, Courtney, as you all know her. So there you go. Thank you for coming tonight, both of you. So Zig Zag, how you been? He's froze up.
He's frozen.
Oh, there you
is. Like I posted the email, I was in New York, and then couldn't wait to get back so I can get to the garden. I mean, it was a lot of things were actually dried out because it was so hot over here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, everything.
Good.
Zig Zag, where are you? Are you North Carolina or something?
North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in northern Georgia, and we haven't had rain, and I don't. It just needs to rain. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, we've had monsoon type of rains here, where it looks like it's the end of the world. We've had some. Like literally, they look like little hurricanes. But the thing is that the day after it gets so hot, that, everything everything heavily mulched. But there's certain plants that I have in pots that, when you got those dry heats, they do need to be watered often. Which I'm actually working on getting a drip irrigation system on.
Nice.
For those in particular, but. Other than that, everything else is like it's mimicking the forest. Like nobody waters or feeds the trees in nature. So that's how I want my garden to be, like the forest, where it's basically self-sufficient with its own ecosystem and everything. So I don't use pesticides or anything like that. So any bug is welcome because eventually the predatory bugs are going to come in and take care of their asses. So
nice. Oh, I love that. Love it.
I have a world of praying mantises, wheel bugs, assassin bugs. I mean, you name it. It's crazy. I have like bugs that look like aliens that I have to Google them because I don't even know what they are.
Wow.
Every year I just get newer bugs just coming in. So the universe gets more expensive.
Yeah.
In other words. And that's how the body is. The body basically the more the bacteria, the more the defenses, the more the diversity. It's always a beautiful thing, That's why they talk about cleanliness comes in like different levels because they talk about cleanliness is next to godliness, but you know what I'm saying? Like the way they were promoting the cleanliness as far as like, with the hand washes and these these chemicals they want you to put in your hands to like keep yourself clean ain't the most beneficial thing. So that's another topic because cleanliness comes in many different forms,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, and see, with that, here's the thing, getting your hands in the dirt and getting that dirt under your fingernails and stuff is actually a good thing. Dirt necessarily is not bad. There's people out there that actually, I've seen articles on it where they eat dirt.
Oh,
Is that true? They eat dirt.
My dad would make me do that as a kid once a year.
Oh, really?
Or once or twice a year. Yeah, when my sister made me eat mud pies just to be a jerk. But my dad would, he would say I would have to take a thing of sand and a thing of dirt, like just over your tongue. Yeah.
And it wasn't because you were swearing, is it?
No, yeah.
Put the soap in your mouth and wash your mouth out with soap, you dirty mouth.
Right.
But no.
Zig Zag, I love when you say that you want it to be natural, because just today I was thinking, because I'm from the north and then moved to the south, and there's bugs here that I'm wow.
What part of the north?
Where in the north?
Yeah.
I was originally outside of Chicago. So, and now I'm in northern Georgia. So vastly different bugs, different kind, weather, all of it. Red clay. I'm dealing with red clay. Never dealt with that before. And today I was thinking though, Mother Nature is so good to us that she sets it up. If we just kind of let things go the way they need to, she sets it up so perfectly that I know in my yard, if I get bit by a brown recluse, there's a weed right next to me that I can grab, spit in my hand, take some of the leaves, crumb it up, and and put it on that bite. And that saves me time to at least get to the hospital. Like, she sets up, if there's predators, she sets up the remedy right there. You know what I mean? Like, so I love the fact that you're allowing it to just be the process that it's supposed to be, because that's more even beneficial for us.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? Going back real quickly to what we were talking about, like eating dirt part. I mean, it's like it's okay to eat a little bit of dirt, but other than that, just touching the dirt, like Rob was saying, we've got these little pores underneath our nails that you're basically eating through your fingers. You get what I'm saying? Like, without having to eat through your hands. That's why they say that don't apply on your skin anything you wouldn't eat, because you're technically like ingesting it to some extent. Your body's absorbing it. So even having the dirt on your hands or whatnot, or just the soil, and you're still eating it, and it's still introduced into your body. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing too, though. With the herbs, especially in the area of study that I'm going into, which is like herbal specialist, which is the beauty part about it, is that there's certain herbs in the garden that actually grow just because there's an imbalance in the soil to begin with. So let's say, for example, you got clay soil. I have clay soil as well. I've got soil that's basically where the soil that I walk on, it gets compacted, or to some extent there's like, let's say, calcium deficiencies there and whatnot. There's herbs that are very, very deep rooted that grow literally almost 20 feet under, into the soil. And it's sucking up all those minerals from real deep underneath. And what happens is that it's coming up to the leaves. So let's say, for example, dandelions. Dandelions are amazing. And let's say, for example, a lot of people want to use calcium for your plants and whatnot. You can actually use the leaves of those dandelions that are basically a plethora of them grow in the spring. And when you dry them out, I mean, you put them in the top of the plants, and they're actually going to feed calcium to your plants, because that's what happens when there's an imbalance in the soil. There's certain weeds that grow, and they grow in the spring, like dandelions again, and then when the summertime comes, they just die back down and they feed the soil. You get what I'm saying? And then through the summertime, whatever else grows in there, it's basically balancing out the soil for you. Me, for example, I have where I'm going to be growing. Because I don't like grass. You know what I'm saying? I have a friend who works in a tree company. Well, he owns a tree company, and he brought me like 3 or 4 truckloads of like wood chips, because he basically chops down trees and then breaks them all down, and then that's what I use. And why I like that is because what protects the soil in the woods or in the forest is all the trees where they canopy. They don't let the sun beat up the soil. So in other words, the way I have it is I use the wood chips, then I crowd a lot of plants around. You know what I'm saying? And what that does, it prevents, like, people say competition between like plants, so don't plant them too close to each other. It's basically, if you look in the forest, everything's growing all together anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's not basically survival of the fittest. It's more or less like everything's working with each other, because now there's a proper communication network, which is a mycelium network, and that's the root system of a mushroom, and it basically feeds the plant. But that's also something that allows a communication from one plant to another to know if one needs nutrients. And that above ground, the frequency is basically like the wind, where you got the leaves flowing in the wind, and that's basically another form of communication from up above. So there's so many things happening symbiotically between that's why they say as above, so below, but it's happening in different ways. Above is happening in a higher frequency, where it's basically happening through, the leaves moving. And then underneath, there's that mycelium network that is basically feeding all the trees from underneath. And in turn, since that can't live above ground, the tree brings the energy from the sun down to the root system, and then that in turn feeds the plant underneath, which is what the mycelium network is doing, and the bacteria and the microbes and all that. It's an interesting world. It's crazy. Sorry, I went on a rant.
No, that's super great.
No.
I love how that you were talking about. I got something to add to that. And both of you got some, you know, you were, Courtney, you were talking about something about doing something with straw. And I want to get back to that. That's kind of the same thing as the leaves, but I want to say hi to everybody in the chat room. We got Grandpa Brian, who's growing the biggest garden I've ever seen, except for my parents. And we got all kinds of people in the chat room tonight. That's going to be great. We got Jill Jarrett, Mary Wins, Jackie J is in the house. Lucky Smith's in the house, giving us words of great advice. He says dandelions are superfood. Stupid how lawn care hates them. Yes, how we've been duped. And with all that, thank you, Grandpa Brian, for coming. You're growing. How many hundreds of bean plants? I gotta hear the story behind all this. It looks like he's kind of froze up, but that's all right. Courtney, you're on tonight. Now, everybody listen up. I went ahead and took Courtney's moon manifesting class. Was it great? Yes, it was. I learned a lot. Thank you very much. It was like a really good one-on-one class. There was only 2 people in the class. We had a really good time, learned a lot. My mouth was going like this, probably overpowered you a few times. I had to share a lot of pictures that I had, and it was great. But you know what? I had a lot of fun, and I hope you all do too, because guess what? She is going to have another class. And I invited her on tonight, especially to talk about her class a little bit and what's coming up. And you too can join and do the moon manifesting class. And then she's going to tell us a little bit about manifesting in the moon for planting crops, which is really interesting. I bet you never heard of that one, Zig Zag, right?
But yeah, I actually plant according to the moon cycles.
Really?
So,
wow.
I love you.
That is awesome.
I do follow the moon cycles. I follow the whole magnetism of the moon.
Yeah.
You know, how it brings up the energy. As far as you know, even the tides. If you look at the lakes, the rivers, the waters, it all rises, and there's a certain effect they have on the plants, figuring the plants have water in them.
Yes.
And then for the growing cycles, especially the nitrogen, you know, because there's nitrogen that we depend on in the soil for growth. And of course, when that's combined with the moon and all that, it's a beautiful world to get into.
Yeah,
I'm always open. I'm open to more information. So I'll definitely do the class if anything. Listen. I'm always open to listening to other people's information. Honestly, I always learn something new from everybody. So
yeah, stay open minded. Geez, Robert, I think that was the best commercial I've ever had. So thank you. Yeah, actually, guys, I'm doing the moon manifesting course again because I'm finally listening to my husband after a few years saying that my courses are packed full of too much stuff for like one time period. It is. I mean, I packed full my stuff. So I'm actually going to break the course into 2. Like a moon manifesting course 101 and a moon manifesting course 102. And I'm going to do it a set both in June and July of them. The first one is actually next Saturday from 7 to 10 Eastern time for moon manifesting 101. And then 102 is the end of the month, like the 25th or whatnot. It's all on my website, starsofthemorninglight.com. Robert I feel bad when I taught you because it was like a week after my surgery and I was not up to par. I had no idea it was going to be that way. So Robert's also available to sit in again if you would like. But it is that. It was so much information. And I honestly, I'm not trying to boast about myself, but I started working on this stuff in 97. So I have so much information that I kind of take for granted that when I deliver it to people, I don't realize, what they know or don't know. And so it's like, I'll just, lightly graze over, just mention. No, that's the stuff that we end up talking about forever. So I think breaking it up is a good idea because when we really get into more about the goddesses, more about actually really the moon cycles and how to actually use them for manifesting, like cycles that you have to skip to make it happen. I want to spend more time with that as well. So, and then also there's a whole lot in there, guys. We go into cleansing our ego. We go into all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's a class that it's not just manifesting. It is learning to build a relationship with the moon, because she really is. If we ever need comfort and we want to make sure that our words are protected and they're not out there floating around in the ether, just possibly coming back on us or harmful in any way, venting. We all have to cry. We all have to vent. You can actually express them all to the moon, and she can hold them for you. And if you don't want them released, they're not released. She is like our mother, just protecting, caring, nurturing. But then if you do want to manifest and you have this great relationship, guys, it's honestly, it's how I'm paying my bills. I mean, I've been doing it forever, and it works. It works. And you get so much information. All of the do's and don'ts that I have learned, you'll get. So thank you, Robert, for plugging it. The 101 class is next Saturday from 7 to 10. Robert, are you planning on doing anything for the full super moon coming, the goddess moon on the 14th, our beloved strawberry moon?
Well, I know I need to do that. I've been so super busy around my house planting and, manifest. You were talking about manifesting. You're all talking about manifesting. I got to get Grandpa Brian on this too, because I got that big question for him. Better be scared. Get ready. But anyway, the big thing is manifesting. You can manifest a garden planted with your intentions, and it grows, and it has something to give back to you like that.
Yes. And it'll keep replenishing you if you need it to be. And that's the thing. It's not like, not all manifesting, as you learned, Robert, it's also layering manifestations. You got to layer them. So like the 14th at my house, my fire pit is very big because I've been layering multiple different things for quite a while. And she's going to blaze on the 14th. And then I'm going to take all those ashes and put them in my compost. It's all...
That is a big one for gardening, and because ashes are the minerals that the plants need.
Right. And all of my manifestations and my gratitude and my love and my appreciation are in those ashes now going to be in my food. I mean, it's
absolutely.
You can use it in all sorts of ways.
Which is really interesting. Grandpa Brian, I know you just joined us. I asked you to come because you grow a nice big garden too. And you got more land than probably all of us to grow the big garden. So that is awesome. So the big thing is do you plant by the moon?
No, I do not. Here in Indiana, you got to plant by the weather. And because of that, I wasn't able to get anything in early, like my onions and all that, because it was a really weird spring. So I've left room in my garden now. So the stuff that I usually plant in the spring, I'll plant middle of August, and they'll be ready to harvest come October time. Like your Brussels sprouts, spinach, lettuce.
So Grandpa Brian, you're in Indiana. We got North Dakota, we got North Carolina, and North Georgia here. I actually ran into the same thing, and I think that's something we need to all start looking at, is the change of the weather I kind of call it the flip-floppy of the North and the South, because I normally, like the winter plants, my spinach, my greens, this and that, normally I can do that in the winter here. It's perfectly fine in Northern Georgia. All of a sudden this winter was not okay to do that. And so I think we all have to start looking at, we even now have to see things differently as to when to grow and what to grow when. Yeah. What do you think, Zigzag?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
last year, for example, I had a late frost, which is crazy because I had my peach tree was full of flowers. Then we had a
Yes.
late frost, and it was out of nowhere. I didn't even know it was going to get that cold because they said it was going to drop, but it wasn't like frozen. All the flowers dropped, and I had no peaches at all. So that's just an example. But the reason I don't, I grew so many like greens and tomatoes a couple of years back. I'm talking about so many that I didn't even know what to do with them. What I do eat a lot of is fruits. So the beauty part about the fruits is more, I'm like focused more on perennial plants like blackberries, blueberries, the strawberries, like the fruit trees and whatnot. The annuals, I'm focused more on like the watermelons, the cantaloupes, the honeydew, those type of things is the stuff that I'm growing now. I do like beets because I like beet juice for, detoxification and whatnot. Carrots, but I take the juice out. I also noticed that the change of weather has an impact on the type of bugs and pests. Plus the I don't know if you guys ever get affected by the powdery mildew on certain things, just because of the change in drop in temperature and humidity and
Mhm.
dryness and humidity and dryness again. So, but yeah, I agree with the weather part big time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do my winter plants now, either the fall or early spring, because I just don't think I can do, because my peach tree did the same thing. She was blooming. She was beautiful. It snowed here, which we don't ever get snow, and it snowed in March. And I'm still trying to get her back to where she needs to be. Yeah.
Wow.
My peach tree looks beautiful. It's like, I'm talking about as vigorous as it can get. It just has no fruit.
Right.
It's crazy. It's just all green now, but no fruits at all. It's whatever.
That kind of sounds like my cherry tree the past 2 years. The weather played a big part in it not producing. Like you said, all of a sudden I go out there and it's just a white film over everything. This year, I'm probably going to pick a couple bushels of cherries off of it. I mean, it
Oh,
is packed full. Matter of fact, I'll probably be picking Sunday.
nice.
Oh,
Can't
wow.
wait.
Yeah. Well, I have a thing to bring up with all of this. And this goes for, we got on the thing about weather, which is true. You need to grow to your climate.
Yeah.
Because I used to live in Wisconsin, and we had the frost times and things, but you could grow all kinds of stuff. But like you two down in North Carolina and Georgia, well, even Indiana, you got a lot of bugs because it's more south. And we had, for example, potato beetles. Oh my gosh, potatoes, beetles, eat your plants down to nothing because of these stupid bugs. You have to go and shake them and spray them or what. If you want any potatoes all, you got to think of all kinds of creative ideas to get rid of these potato beetles. Well, then I moved to North Dakota. You know what? I don't even see a potato beetle.
Yeah.
I can grow really nice potatoes.
Do you guys, have any issues? Do you guys have any issues with Japanese beetles?
I
really.
do.
I hardly ever see any. Not many bugs here.
Man,
I hardly see any anymore.
I have a hard time believing these things came from. I don't know why. I feel like these things were made in laboratories for some reason, and nobody's released because I'm telling you, man, I put Clorox on them just to experiment, and they still don't die.
Oh,
they're hardy bugs.
And I will say, because I grew up in Northern Illinois, that you don't see those up there, like barely. I mean, at all. When I got down here, it's a whole different ball game. Because the bugs don't have to die here. It stays nice. I have a question with that. So I've been hearing, now growing in the hay bales is like that new trend that I hear it does wonderful. Like you get a bale of hay, you fertilize it for so long, so many days, and then you use that because then it's kind of like a hot box of nutrients and the plant grows even better. But also you can protect it from the pests better. If you, I mean, I've seen pictures of people having it in like a shopping cart, like they just move it to where the sun is. Is that something any of you are experienced in? Because I'm not experienced, but I hear, because how the nutrients just stay in the hay, it's growing fruit and vegetables just like crazy. Any idea?
Never tried. I use hay
I
as a
haven't heard anything
cover.
about that, but and I mean it makes sense as far as like, you know, let's say like nitrogen, the
Yeah.
the nutrients in it because of the I just don't know about the hop part. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I got to do research on it. I really never heard.
Yeah,
but
I got a book recently. Haven't really cracked it open, but I guess this one's really good.
Bell Gardens, yeah.
And I knew a woman that I had met. She swore by it. She said, "Grow by the moon and grow and start doing this." And I said, "I already knew about the moon," and she said, "Oh, but then add the hay." She said, "I've never had a garden so good," and she had also lived all over the states. I mean, she lived in. She said something like 12 different states in her life, gardening the entire time. That she said was the best way she has found to do it, pretty much anywhere.
So with that
You
said,
leave
remember
it?
I was talking about getting a book. You can get like I was out here, gardening out here is really hard because it's so cold. So I went and bought this book, and this is Successful Gardening for the Northern Prairie. I mean, I don't know if any of you want to read about that, but the point is that it's a different world out here. It's cold, it doesn't grow. You got to have extra stuff to make things grow. You guys are so lucky in a way to be in a climate where you can almost grow, 10 months out of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it
5,
too.
if that the
Yep.
most. So
Yeah, getting back to the bales of hay. The process you do, you cut a hole, core it out about 5 to 6 inches deep, about 8 inches round. It takes about 3 weeks to get that prepped because you got to water it every day. And what that does,
Right.
it starts to decompose underneath where that soil is. And that's where the heat comes from. It heats the roots. So it's all decomposing in there and it's continuously making nutrients because it's decomposing. It's a good way to
Uh,
plant, but then you need a lot of bales of hay to be able to do that, especially if you're doing a bigger garden.
yeah, I was thinking
How
of just
much
trying
But
is
it
like if
bells
you're,
and
something
hay?
simple. Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead, Zig
you
How
Zag.
know,
much are those
if you
bales
have
of hay?
4 bales of hay, uh, probably they're not expensive. Maybe $4 a bale, $5 a
Yeah,
bale. If you got a good farmer around you,
right.
you have to make sure you get hay and not alfalfa because alfalfa is toxic to other plants. I don't know if you all knew that. So you actually want to make sure you're getting hay and not alfalfa.
yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Well, and that's the thing. And then hay could be cheap. You probably, if you wanted to try that, get some old rotten bales from a farmer. I remember when my hay got rained on, I'd be happy for some guy to just come and take,
Well, see, and
because
I'm also
no good.
thinking people that are in apartments. Because see, what I'm thinking now is that everybody's starting to realize it'd be good that you grew something that you could eat. Everybody. I really do feel that way. And I'm hoping more people jump on board. Well, then you get into the urban garden thing. Well, that does tend to become expensive because you gotta buy pots, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. If that works, you could put a bale of hay, so big on a deck, on a patio, on a something, if you're living in an apartment, and put some, whatever in there, I'm trying to think of like if it works really well, that is a cheap way for people in apartments can do it. Most apartments have some kind of deck, some kind of patio, some kind of balcony. Even if it's just one, and then you got a couple little pots of some herbs, you know?
You
Yeah.
know, and that's true.
Mhm.
If you grow something, something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
If you can grow a little bit, you know, then that's going to be that much less that you have to buy at the store, and it'll make you feel better. I mean, Zig Zag, you've been talking about that for a long time. You were like, I remember you telling me, hey, I got to North Carolina, I started growing things, and your life changed completely. Tell us a little bit about that, because you were in the dirt with the stuff. You had fruit from your own vines. It was wonderful.
Right. I mean, like I said, I didn't know anything about plants. One thing I did notice, I just got back from New York. I've been doing a lot of traveling over there. Everybody, even in New York, is getting into gardening. But I'm noticing how freaking expensive it is to buy like even a plant over there. So I started like my citrus trees from seed. Now, when I came to North Carolina, got me amazed like old greenery because I'm from New York in the city, kind of country jungle. You know what I'm saying? When I came down here, I don't know, it was just I felt what got me into gardening was I saw morning glories growing. I didn't know what morning glories were. But I found it fascinating how beautiful they look when I go outside in the morning and I see these burpee flowers and how like long and how they just look. They just look beautiful. So I started to basically pay attention more to plants. But then I started to go to farmers markets around here and I started to see that there was plants that grow food. And I was like, maybe I could start growing like food. And this was maybe like 5 years ago. And it all started with like pepper plants, tomatoes. And that's why I said I grew, but I got so excited. I grew so many of them. And it's crazy because not knowing about plants, I was very successful. And I think the reason why, you know how people talk about a green thumb? The green thumb part, I feel like it's just when you put your heart into it, the heart chakra color is green. And I feel like it's just the color of love. And, you know, let's just say like everything that I put into it was done with such a passion and with such love that along with just skimming through research, it's like crazy, but I feel like I've done it before. Like I already knew what to do. There was a point where I was like trying to prune my plants, for example. And I didn't even know anything about pruning plants, but for something just told me to just, you know, as I'm looking at the plant, I go underneath the plant and I started pruning it without really even like doing research on it. And I just started to use common sense and say, okay, maybe some lights come through here. So I just started doing things and it worked out. You get what I'm saying? And then come to show, I started doing more research and it happened with a lot of different things. Like I just started doing things. I just did it. You know what I'm saying? I killed a couple of plants, but it's like part of the process. But, you know, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I've accomplished in 5 years, maybe 10 years worth of like gardening skills. You know what I'm saying? And I did it in such little time, but because I love it so much, I've done it with so much. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I've gotten a lot of downloads just gardening. Like I'm talking about, I make a lot of videos, but a lot of the information that I've gotten from just gardening has been, I mean, a lot of information that I've done from videos has been inspired from gardening. It's not like it comes in English language. It comes in like a different kind of language that we would call alien language or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I'm just, why I say this is because when I look at the soil, when I look at the planets, like the cycles and all that, and you see how women go through cycles, men go through cycles and whatnot. It's just crazy how the soil, you come from the soil, you die, you go back to the soil, the microbes, the bacteria, the interaction of all the bugs, the predatory, like prey predator. I don't know. It's just everything as far as chemistry, health. It's all correlated with the human body. And I'm just looking at everything and it's just so connected. That's what got me so passionate about it because I've always been passionate about the body. I've been working in the bodybuilding industry, the supplement industry, which I'm not as passionate about it now. I'm more into the naturopathy side of things. But it all started from there because I've been so fascinated about the human body that I started gardening, and I'm looking at the connection between the garden, the human body, the environment, and that's what got me so passionate about it. You know, it's not just growing food; it's just health overall is a mental state, and just the mentality of how everything works and how it's not what you're doing, but more how you do it. I hope I'm making sense here. But it's more how you do it, you know. And then as I'm doing it, I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm just flow. I'm just doing it in flow without thinking, and then without putting too much thought into it, and it just works, you know. And I feel like I started tying that into life, and it started bleeding into life, into my finances and whatnot, and everything just works better because I'm doing it in the same way, you know. So I want to do something with gardening, and I'm doing iridology. I'm doing so many things, but I don't know. It was like a hidden passion that I didn't know I had. If I didn't move out of New York into North Carolina, I probably would have never known anything about gardening, you know. Just moving into this state changed my mental state, you know. So I don't know. It's just an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah.
I got a question for Grandpa Brian.
Interesting.
You know,
Yep.
you know, you're listening to this and you're going, oh man, those young folks, you know, but you know, when did you learn how to garden? And, you know, was it taught from your parents, your grandparents, and passed down? Because obviously you didn't learn this yesterday.
No, when we first got this place down here, my stepfather was still alive, and he put a garden in a few years until he couldn't do it any longer. My first passion was flowers. I grew most of my flowers by seed, and it was funny. Zig Zag Zilla saying something about morning glories. That was one of my favorite flowers, and I used to plant them in a circle, and then I would take them vines, and by the middle of summer, I just had this big, beautiful morning glory wreath.
Nice.
I grew some. They were called mammoth sunflower seeds. They were 18 foot tall with, I don't know, heads
24
on
inch
them about
diameter.
that
Yeah.
big around. Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know, I got a green thumb, and a couple years ago, something said, get the garden going again back down there at the cabin. So I'm down here every weekend, and I was out there 6 hours a day doing work in the garden. I love it. It's
Yeah.
relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
almost like it's therapeutic.
Absolutely.
To me, it's one of my favorite forms of meditation. It fully, I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the same
you're
as
there, you're
the,
getting grounded.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Feeling
same
all
as
the
the monks
vibration
that,
off of the plants.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly.
I can spend
Yeah.
hours and hours and hours outside. Also,
Yeah.
it's the best
What,
experience.
So speaking of that, Grandpa Brian, everybody doesn't realize how big your garden is. Do you mind me sharing those pictures you sent me of your garden?
Oh no, not at all. Go
yeah,
right ahead. It looks a
Oh,
lot
okay.
different now
Ah,
because I've
yeah.
actually been laying ground cover out to cover
And
up all so
there we
everything won't,
go. Look at
only
that.
the
He's got
plants will grow.
stuff growing. It's probably bigger. This you sent me a couple weeks
oh
ago.
yeah.
You know, but it's huge.
Yeah.
I got another picture here. I mean, this is a pretty good sized garden, and you got the fence in the back. Keep the deer out. I can tell that.
Oh yes.
You got peppers, and I think that's tomatoes. Let's blow that up and bring that down. Yep, tomatoes. How many tomato plants do you
Yep.
got?
Tomatoes. 38.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. And you got how many? You said green beans.
354. So I
Wow.
should be able to can right around 70, 80 jars and be able to freeze a bunch and just give them away.
Yes.
I probably got, let's see, about 40 pepper plants, nine cucumber plants, and 9 cantaloupe plants.
Yeah, and some
Nice.
of these are those right
And then,
here.
like
These must be these look like cucumbers or something. Going, no?
yep, those are my cucumbers. Yeah,
Okay.
those I do believe. Yep, those are the cucumbers.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
I'm
those
sure
are
they're a lot
what you
bigger
see
by
right
now.
next to them. Those are my hot peppers. Yep.
Yep.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys like hot peppers, but I got some habaneros in there, jalapenos.
Love,
I actually got
love.
7 Hungarian hot wax peppers right now on my plants. I'll have hot wax peppers here in about another 7 to 8 days.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Nice. Nice.
Man,
nice.
I wish I would have sent you pictures of mine, man. I actually have 50 watermelon vines.
Oh my
You
goodness.
could have
My
sent
Wow.
me
husband would love
pictures,
you.
man.
Yeah.
We planned this out for a few days. I would have been
You know-
glad to get pictures.
You know what I have also that I actually didn't even know what it was. I got muscadine vines outside, plants outside also,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I didn't even know what muscadines were. So I have 3 muscadine vines outside,
Mhm.
and then I actually germinated some from seed. So right now I have about 40 germinated muscadine plants that I'm actually gonna wait 3 years for me to produce some fruit out of it. And I've got grapes, these like Mars globe grapes that are growing right now this year, and they look phenomenal. So that's actually something that I'm actually pretty
Wow.
excited for this year. But I
I'm-
got cantaloupes and honeybee,
Wow.
and blackberries. I probably got I know I'm gonna have more than 100 pounds of blackberries this year. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
gonna be making a lot of smoothies.
See, you guys are so
Yep.
lucky you can grow that stuff down south. Up here in the north, I see Max Vision is in the house, and he's from up north, so he knows what I'm talking about. Now, I don't know if Max has got a garden or not, but I want to share to you my piss poor gardening in North Dakota because it's cold as crap out. And remember, we just had our biggest blizzard ever, like in April, the middle of April. So here we're going to go with that.
Wow.
We're going to go back to this.
I don't know why you still choose that, Robert. I got out of that.
Oops, wrong way. Hang on.
Oh, that's lovely.
Gotta get
Wow,
the
that
V
looks
on.
nice.
Yeah.
Hang on. They're getting there. Oh, it's chickens. I took a little bit of pictures of everything. I think that's it. There's my potato. That's my purple potato plants. You see, they come up purple. So that's my potato. I made these square beds, and
Nice.
I got some rhubarb in there. And this is where I planted all my purple potatoes in that one, so I can kind of keep them separate. And you can see some of them are just starting to come up now. And I planted them quite a while ago. It takes forever to get them going. There's my rhubarb plant. I already picked some rhubarb. I don't know if you guys have rhubarb down in those areas. Do you? Do you
Oh,
grow rhubarb?
yes.
Oh yeah, I love
Oh,
rhubarb.
yes. Uh-huh.
Oh, I
Now-
love it.
Now, you all know Gaza Cav. He told me if I took these rhubarb leaves, ground them up, took the juice from them, I could add water, put it in a spray bottle, and sprayed my other plants, it would keep the bugs off. I'm going to try that this year. Okay. That's my chicken coop.
Really?
My homemade chicken coop I've got from scavenged lumber and everything, and it didn't cost me but the money to put the wire on. So
Right.
it's a cheap one. But then I
Right.
went and bought
Wow.
this new one. This is my new chicken coop, store-bought one. Anyway, you can see I got a really small house. Anyway, there's my chickens. See, I'm trying to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And here's my regular potato plants growing. They're really small. I had to get really close. They're just starting to come up. There's my tomatoes. They're really small. They're starting to come up. I had to get down. See how, I wonder why are maybe you guys can help me out. Why are my tips of my tomatoes turning purple? Why is that? Must be some kind of mineral in the ground or what? See, you can
What
see.
are you planting it with?
I
That-
don't know.
I just planted it in the dirt, and the leaves are starting to turn purple. They
Well,
started out green.
Robert,
Yes.
I will say my plants did something a month ago or so when we were having all those sunbursts.
Yeah.
It did affect my plants.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that's contributed. I think it's more minerals in the soil, but I will say the sunbursts now that are happening all the time,
Yeah.
they're affecting our plants as same as they're affecting us, in my humble opinion.
Could be. The peppers look right. They're nice and green, as you can tell. I got some bell peppers I'm growing. And these are my new ones. I got some cabbages I bought, and some cauliflower, and what do you call it? I can't think of it. Huh?
What is that? Radicchio or kale or what is that?
Oh, I had it last year. It's on the tip of my tongue, and I can't think of the name of it. I'll
Beets?
think of it later. No, it ain't beets. It's
look like beets, right?
Yeah.
Swiss chard. Swiss chard.
Swiss
That's
chard.
Swiss
Swiss
I
chard.
know it's on the
Okay.
tip of my tongue, but this is my other hotbed, and I got my other tomato plants. I just bought these plants the other day, so I didn't have time to plant them. But this is my hotbed that I'm growing the tomatoes
Ah,
in because I had to
okay.
start them out early, and I don't want them to freeze. And the wind is really bad, and you can
Yeah.
see the difference between the ones outside. They look purplish, and they're not growing so good compared to the ones that are inside. Now these were all planted on the same day, and look at how these look compared to the ones outside.
You wanna make, but if you were nursing them though, they probably just, you have to like give it a time for them to get sun hardy. Because I
Yeah.
noticed that when you nurse them, like say outside the sun, and then you put them directly outside in direct sunlight, sometimes they could get torched. But that
Yeah.
also looks like the way I use a lot of, like, that's why I told you I use a lot of wood chips. I try to keep the soil temperature stable, because
Yep.
if they dry out, they will. And that's when we talk about mineral deficiencies. I look at mineral deficiencies as just the machine in the soil just stops. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel the microbes get compromised due to either like, let's say if it went through a drought or a period where it got too hot, or the pH maybe got unstable, and then that affects the bacteria from processing organic matter. And that's where it'll start to look like a deficiency. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's important to keep the soil stable and not change the stability of the soil. But also, you know what's good with tomato plants? As they're growing, keep cutting those bottom stems and just keep mounding more soil on top of it. They actually like to be buried very deep. Normally, I even bury a hole in them. I bury them in a hole and just let them grow. And as they're growing, I just keep burying it until I get them to a really high mound. And man, the stems get really, really thick, and they get strong. You get really good tomatoes, man.
Oh yeah. I used to take them when I get real tall ones. I would pick all the stems off, and I would lay them down in there, so they got this long root stem. Instead of a chunk in the ground, I'd lay them down, and that all turns to root. That's the way my
Hey,
parents
Robert,
did it.
I wanted
Yes.
to say too, I love all these beds that you've made. That's probably the way I'm going to have to go with all the red clay I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
But what I did last year and I did it this year, because I'm not going to spend money on wood right now because it jumped up 5 times.
You're telling me, oh my gosh.
I went and bought, those simple little kiddie pools that cost $7-8.
Oh yeah.
And put some holes in it. I put my dirt in it, my soil, and I now have, in one of them, I have my cantaloupe and I have my watermelon in a larger one. So there, even then, if you have a deck, a patio, you can fit one of those small kiddie pools there.
Yeah,
and
they're cheap.
do it that way. They're cheap. Yeah.
Yes, I like that. That's a really good idea. Really good suggestion, and I like that. Growing in buckets. You don't have to have a fancy bucket. You can get a 5-gallon pail, poke some holes in it. Here's my garden, and you can see this is the tomatoes and the rows I got. I got onions in there, things like that. It's just it's not nothing extravagant, people. Here's my hothouse I made. Just a wooden box. Yes, lumber. I built this when the lumber was cheap. And I grow that. It protects it kind of from the wind, and I don't have to worry about it freezing. It's just something simple. I got some lids on it. Here's my lettuce growing. It's just starting to come up, and there's my radishes. The radishes are doing fabulous this year so far. So hopefully I'm getting some radishes soon. Here's my kale. The kale is growing really good.
So can I ask the fellas here?
Yes.
If you had like your top 5 things that you think people should grow for sustainability purposes or what have you, or just vitamins and minerals that our bodies need, what would be like your top 5? Each of you. Don't all speak at once.
I'll let them. Well, all right. So I mean, if you want me to go first, I'll go first. But I feel grapes are pretty much one of the easiest things to grow. I mean, they just give you so many like fruit. I mean, it's crazy. Blackberries are phenomenal. I mean, one of the most powerful antioxidants. Very powerful as far as like the vitamin and mineral content that you get on it. Watermelons. The reason I love watermelons, I mean, as far as balance goes, you got the right water in there, because a lot of people are dehydrated based on like improper diet. But when you grow watermelons, it's the type of water that's in it. It's structured water, but along with that, you got the right mineral and vitamin content in it, and it's also a very good detoxifier. So when a lot of people start to talk about absorbing certain vitamins, like B12, or which is basically a bacteria, is not even a vitamin. It all has to do with the environment in your system. So it's a very good alkalizer. And the reason why it's good is because, again, it keeps it's like the soil. The soil. When I look at the soil outside, it's like a stomach. It needs to maintain stability. So if not, then what happens? The body starts robbing calcium to basically balance the pH. And that's exactly how it works in the garden. So these foods are very, very important. How many did I just say?
You said, okay, so
right?
you said grape. You said grape, blackberry, watermelon. You kind of mentioned beets. Would we throw beets in there?
Beets are phenomenal, and they're also amazing because you can actually see the leaves that grow on top of the beets. I actually use those as my salad, and then I use the beets to make juice. You know what I'm saying? And the juice is a great detoxifier as well. It's important to keep your filters clean because it keeps your body absorbing the minerals and vitamins that you're supposed to basically utilize in your system.
One more.
And I also like
go to your top 5. Your number 5.
Yeah, I like beans. And the reason I like beans is they also feed nitrogen to the soil, but they're also very good, to eat. It's a good source of protein, which I'm not really focused too much on the protein side of things, but it's a good protein that you can actually grow yourself, in your own garden. So yeah, those are my top 5.
There you go. Grandpa Brian, what about you, darling? Is he there? I can't tell.
Yeah, I think he's got his mute button on.
What about you, Robert? What would you say?
Yeah, turn it. Yeah, there you go. Now try talking.
This is fascinating.
Can't hear you, Grandpa Brian. There you go. I can hear something now.
There he is.
There you go. Go ahead, talk now. Nope, can't hear you.
What about you, Robert? You answer.
Not hearing you, Grandpa Brian. Okay, I'll tell you what. I got 5, but my 5 are going to be different because I love Zig Zag Zilla's the 5 because those are all fruits, and I love those things. I love watermelon. I love the blackberries and raspberries and melons and things. Oh my gosh, I love them. But here in the north, it's extremely hard to grow them.
Yeah,
extremely hard, at least to get them to a larger size.
Yeah.
And so I have narrowed my garden down to my favorite things that I can use are like potatoes, beets, onions, and corn, and beans.
And
beans because you can eat beans and you can dry beans and use them later. You can, beets, like Zig Zag said, you can eat the leaves and you can process them for later. And because they're a root crop, they can grow a lot longer around here. And then there's, corn, you could freeze it, you can eat it, you can grind it, you could do a lot of things with the corn. Plus, it's a great treat in the summer. And then the potatoes, I get the potatoes out and I can make those potatoes and onions last me a long time. The potatoes will give me starch for the winter when I really need it. And the onions have a high percentage of vitamin C, which, you can't get in, the northern climate because we don't have oranges and things like that. you know what I'm saying? So the onion is a really good staple and I eat a lot of onions. So not to make anybody, my breath, kind of thing. But anyhow, keeps the bugs away, even though we don't have much.
Wait, Robert, I want to say that's an excellent list. And my dad, every winter, he would, cook a whole onion. He would bake it for a long time and he would then eat it like an apple. That man was never sick. Like that's what onions do. Onions are wonderful. So who cares if your breath smells? You
I'm just
know?
saying. I'm just saying.
That's like garlic. Garlic is a very powerful antibiotic too. But in moderation, of course, because you don't want to eat too many of those. But when you're like in bad shape, like garlic is a real powerful medicine.
Yeah.
And I got garlic all over my garden too, which is crazy. I've got onions everywhere too, because they're good for like deterring pests. But I also eat a lot of onions and garlic. And Robert, you know what the beauty part about the stuff you're growing them and that I'm growing? You know what the beauty part about this is?
What?
Like we can, like if and it could be possible even if you're far away, but we can actually trade food. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like if I specialize in certain foods and you specialize in certain foods, we can actually trade. In the fact that I can grow certain things here that you can't, right?
Yes,
I would actually be able to trade with you. And that's what I think everybody should be doing, because I don't know how the world would be hungry or there's a food shortage. In actuality, if one watermelon, I can actually make an entire garden out of the seeds that I get in one watermelon, which is insane.
Yeah. Yes.
How is the world hungry? How is there a food shortage? You get what I'm saying? And
Yes.
you buy watermelons in the supermarket, they're seedless. I've got watermelons growing, and last year, out of one watermelon, I literally pulled out like 100 seeds, and I can grow a whole garden with the seeds I get from one watermelon. Just go figure with that. An apple. How many seeds do you get out of one apple? A lemon, because I got citrus trees everywhere. How many seeds come in a lemon, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Zig Zag, can I say something off of that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Off of that real quick, and then I want to ask Grandpa Brian. So for me personally, I've already started talking to neighbors, local friends. Hey, what do you got in your garden? This is what I got in mine. Okay, if you have too much of this, I'm going to trade you this. And I think that's local, and even further out, that's how all people should do. Because right now I can't grow too much stuff because of just my schedule and what's going on. But I know my girlfriend's going to grow a whole bunch of this and a whole bunch of that. We're going to switch back and forth. So that, I think everybody should start communicating that way.
Right.
And yeah, we can always meet you somewhere along the way and exchange. That's always how this should be.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because one person knows how to grow something a little bit better than the other person.
Yes.
And or hey, I really like cucumbers, and the neighbor, he really likes cauliflower, and so then he only wants 5 cucumbers, but
Right.
I want 5 cauliflower kind of thing, and it's so good. Hey, I got a good one for you. Max Vision says, he says, I make sea salt. Now, this is a really good one. I never heard this. Sea salt ormus, and I add it to the soil. The plants grow strong and the moss grows everywhere. What do you have to say to that?
Sea salt. I use Epsom salt, but sea salt might work too. I'm not sure. Probably.
Yeah,
What do you?
I use Epsom salt too.
Really? Oh,
Epsom
wow.
salt. Yep.
Yeah.
So Epsom salt has the right magnesium and it's a good alkalizer also, which is important. I use it mainly on the
Yep.
The soil alkalizes itself eventually, especially if you have like organic matter on top. But like the stuff I have growing, like the berries and stuff like that, they like more of an acidic medium. So the minerals that you get from the Epsom salt are phenomenal. I haven't heard about the sea salt. It might work, but I gotta look it up.
I gotta say, boys, I'll soak my feet in some Epsom salt and then I'll go pour it in the garden. Everybody should do that. Take care of yourself first and then go feed the land.
Yeah.
That's what everybody should do.
Yep.
Grandpa Brian, what are your top 5?
Asparagus, because once you plant asparagus, it keeps rooting and keeps spreading out and keeps growing. Wow. Potatoes, Brussels sprouts, because you can harvest you'll still be harvesting Brussels sprouts in December and January. They're very hardy. They like it cold. So you can basically harvest almost all year round on Brussels sprouts. Turnips, because not only can you eat the bulb, you can cut the top of the greens off and eat the greens too. That's a total edible plant. And probably onions.
Okay, so I think everybody has said onions. That's interesting. Well, or talked about onions. Awesome.
You know why I
Wow.
feel it's important to specialize in certain things? Because let's say, for example, depending on like somebody not having much space and you're growing a lot of potatoes, right? You can't really plant certain things close to potatoes because it's like not gonna work out. Like you shouldn't be planting tomatoes close to potatoes. You get what I'm saying? So that's why, like, let's say if
Right.
somebody specializes in potatoes and I specialize in tomatoes, you know what I'm saying? Then I can have a whole garden of tomatoes, and that's how people can exchange food, you know?
Yes.
But it just depends on the
Yeah.
space. Companion
Yes.
planting is really important, and I noticed like what I have spreading here like wildfire this year, especially are my strawberries. I don't know if anybody's growing strawberries, man, but
I mean,
I mean I've got them
Okay.
multiplying like crazy this year. Like
Really?
I've got 15 in the last week already that I've been able to propagate out of like runners, and I didn't have that last year. This year I got them multiplying like crazy.
See,
So
I wanted to do that this
Wow.
year. We didn't end up getting to it. And mine, I don't know what's going on with them. They're the one plant. So right now I have tomatoes, watermelon, peppers, red, green, cantaloupe, pumpkin going, eggplant.
that
I
I
don't know.
didn't do.
But the one that's like, I don't know what happened to her. I actually had a surgery. I think something happened at that time. Is my strawberries. And it's the one that because I also have raspberries, like how you have blackberries, I have raspberries. I love raspberries.
I got those too.
And yeah, and I'm like, damn, I really wanted strawberries and raspberries, but thank God I at least have these raspberries to fall back on. I don't know what happened. Something happened to my strawberries.
So
go ahead.
Huh.
yeah, my bad. Good.
No, I wanted to capitalize on something. You go ahead and talk. I'm going to share screen here again, and then we're going to have this whole good topic about something, and I know you guys are going to appreciate. Okay, and it's
Hey,
this.
Grandpa Brian, do you have good recipes for those foods that you just said you would? Because I appreciate what you just said out of your top 5, but I don't know if too many people in today's world know how to prepare them or eat them, or because I'm not just thinking about the Soul Tribe guys. I'm thinking about everybody that might stumble along this wonderful video. That's, I think, what pulls people back
Well,
from growing certain stuff, because it's like, oh, how do you even eat this?
yeah, like the asparagus. I like cooking it with just a little bit of olive oil and throwing some Parmesan cheese on top of it,
Oh, see, there you go.
and cooking enough to where it gets warm, but you don't want it getting soft. You still want it crisp.
Yeah.
I also like to cook it on the grill too with the Parmesan cheese. Uh, the greens, I like to cut it up almost into like smaller spinach size, what you would see, get it in a can. Just cut it down to real fine and cook it up like spinach.
Nice.
A little bit of water, a little bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper, a little bit of butter. Delicious.
Yeah. See,
You're
there
And
making
you
me
then,
go.
hungry.
well, what I like about the wood burner here in the wintertime, when I'm heating up the cabin, man, I just wrap up a couple potatoes in aluminum foil with a little bit of butter, throw them in the wood burner, cook whatever else I need to cook, and go back to the wood burner. 30 minutes later, potatoes cooked to perfection.
Yeah.
Nice.
Campfires, wrap them up, throw them in your campfire. Let them cook in there for about 30 minutes. Pull them out. Why turn your oven on when you can build a little fire outside and just throw them
Right.
right in it? Cooks them perfect every time.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel that's some people's hesitancy of as to, like, especially if it is an urban garden type of situation. What do I grow? What should I grow? Oh, if I grow a tomato, that's just a tomato. It's not going to sustain me. Like, how do I cook? How do I eat? I've never tasted this. Trust me, I grew up in urban. So I mean, it is thought processes,
Yeah, that could be
yeah.
a whole nother cooking show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Like,
exactly. I mean, but here's the thing: aren't most people go on and grow something that they really like to eat. You know,
Yeah.
like you like asparagus. I like asparagus too. I like mine pan fried, which is very similar to what you're talking to about. And potatoes, you know, we're all familiar with those things that we want to grow, but you know, I'm not going to grow leeks because I don't know nothing about leeks. Never really had them too much. Or I'm not going to grow something weird because I never really had it. So I'm going to stick with the things I like. And I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, because that's why I started growing more fruit than I did last year. I told you, a couple of years I grew too many tomatoes. I mean, I like tomatoes, I just don't like them that much. So I didn't even know what to do with them. You know, I gave them away, and then I still had so many left over. They ended up rotting. So I didn't want to do that again. You know.
Well, when I used to run these youth programs, we were teaching them construction skills. And one season, we taught them how to grow plants. And I will tell you guys, a lot of them kids, they had never ate those vegetables.
Well, and you know, you brought up a good situation, Courtney, is that, you know, maybe to get somebody to experience these vegetables, they need that good recipe to maybe, you know, get the taste of it. Like, yes, like I really didn't like asparagus until my buddy said, hey, I'm going to make you some pan fried asparagus. And I haven't been stopped eating it since. I love that stuff now.
Yeah.
But until then, it would make me gag.
oh, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Sorry, Robert, I interrupted what you wanted to talk about.
Oh, I'm going to tell you
no.
something that, go ahead. Oh, no, about Zig Zag Zilla turned me on to last year. Thank you for that. He said about growing your stuff in combination to help other stuff, didn't you? And one of the things I need that you have plenty of that I don't, and that's bugs. And plus it looks beautiful. So you got to have the flowers in order to attract the bees and the bugs and the things to bring them so they pollinate my other things so they grow too. So here we go. We got flowers and I planted a bunch of them, you know, and me and the girlfriend, we planted a lot of them to get them going. And I made the bed and she did the planting. So there we go. And now we have, there we're back to your stuff already, Grandpa Brian. And this is my buddy. Now he made himself a greenhouse. You know, I made the little hut things, but everybody has their own talent. So along with that, I wanted to share some of this stuff of his. And you can see he used leftover things around his house, you know, old boards and stuff. Here's some cattle panels. He got some free windows from work, and he made the ceiling for the greenhouse for them. I thought he did such a good job on it. I wanted to share this with all of you. You can see down in the bottom here, he's got strawberry plants growing. That's what you were talking about. Unfortunately, we have a hard time growing them here because it's cold. But he's utilizing all of his space. He's got hanging pots. This is new. He just built this, but you can see he's using old wood boards, so you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. You can see that, you know, it's just a little bit of this and that, and you know, it's homemade. It doesn't have to be extravagant to have a greenhouse so that your plants grow, just so it warms up and doesn't freeze inside. There's his garden that he's got growing. I mean, he's got a nice big garden going here, and which looks, I think these are cauliflower over here, I think he said, and there's his hills of you know, for stuff, and he's got tomatoes over here. We got the hoops on. He's got the tomato rack things on them already. I can't see them so much in this picture, but there they are. And I thought he's doing a real good job with the garden. Oh, there's the strawberry plants, as you can see. He's using wood chips. He's using your wood chip idea. See, there you go.
Very important.
Yes. So he's using your wood chip idea.
It's very important.
And
the crown, if you don't have the wood chips or straws like they tend to rot. The crown tends to rot. So that's actually very nice.
Yeah, very nice. And there's his boxes, kind of the same order as mine. But he's got multiple boxes. As you can see, this is kind of looks like scrap wood that he's had around. So he didn't go out and spend a fortune. You know, he just filled it with dirt. It's going to make it really easy to grow the stuff in there. He's got some grape plants. You can see he's got lattice here for them to grow up on, and he's growing his grapes. I think these are the grape starts that he's got, and he's got them to grow up the vine. So I think that's my last slide. But anyway, there's different things that he's trying to grow. Now, grapes in the northern area here aren't going to be like that huge giant grape like you're talking about. I mean, you're going to get a lot smaller grape because we have a lot smaller growing season. And if you're lucky, they don't freeze in the end. Put it that way. And if you see his hotbeds, here's one, a good example. He lined them with like a plastic or a fabric so that the roots of the grass from the outside don't grow in. That is an important thing. People forget that. He's also put the glass frames on the top. I put plastic on mine. He put glass frames on top to hold the heat in and protect it from the wind, because out here we get so much wind that we have different kinds of weather and climate than you guys have down there, which is really interesting because, you know, there's desert climate, there's, northern climate, and then you got the southern hot climate. Some people down south, they can even grow, my sister, she gets 2 gardens a year. She plants one and then, they have this little cold spell and then she plants another one. She lives in southern Arkansas.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. But I appreciate all these ideas that you all put out, especially, I talked with you many times on growing stuff, Zigzag. We had, and like I said, I'm trying to apply some of this to my garden this year. So there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, I regret. I mean, I wish I would have sent you pictures, man. I didn't even think about that. But what I am gonna do, because I'm very passionate about it. I'm actually gonna put a video up on my channel this week. I'm gonna be doing a walkthrough of the garden. I do that every year, actually. Now that everything starts to pretty much come to light so aggressively, this is like when I really want to show like a spring version of it, and then like the midsummer, and then I always walk of like the fall plants that I start to plant. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'm gonna do a walkthrough with my garden this week.
All right, be looking forward to that one. That one will be great. That would be great. That'd be great. So we learned a lot of stuff here tonight. We got Grandpa Brian, you've been planting a garden for a long time. You got your I want to know what kind of, here's my big thing for all of you. What kind of hazards do you have to battle in your area? Like, I don't have much for bugs. Or in my spot, I don't have to worry about deer or rabbits so much or any of that. But I have to worry about the weather mostly. Down by you got bugs and you got deer. I see you got deer fence up to keep your stuff safe.
Oh yes,
So,
deer, and there's a chicken wire down underneath to keep the rabbits out too. A lot of rabbits down here.
Okay. Well, what do you do for the bugs? All of you got bug ideas, because bugs are a big thing probably in your area more than mine.
With me, it's Japanese.
I use.
Okay, somebody go.
Yeah, I use a spray bottle.
Yeah.
I fill it full of water and I put 1 drop of Dawn dishwashing liquid in there and shake it up. Spray it on your plants. You will not have a problem with it. Bad thing is, if it rains, you'll have to do it again. But yep, they'll stay bug free.
You know what you could add to that too, though, just to make sure that it sticks very well? Add a little bit of olive oil too. So if you do the dish soap, add a little bit of olive oil to that water, and it's gonna have a much more effective, hit on those bugs as well. So it'll stick to the leaves a lot better too. But just don't add too much, because then the sun will burn them, and then But you gotta add very little bit. I would add more soap. You know what I'm saying? I'll probably do like maybe half a teaspoon of soap instead of a drop, and then just do the drop of, or maybe a drop or 2 of the olive oil. That's how you're really gonna get a good effect. That works for me. But the biggest battle I have are Japanese beetles. I actually have to go outside when they're most aggressive for the 2 weeks. get a
Mhm.
cup of soapy water and just like dump them in there. Like
Yeah.
there's no way around it. They're the most aggressive
They are.
in the garden, and it's the only thing
Mhm.
that's imbalanced because again, like you can have white flies, you can have mealy bugs. There's always going to be something to balance them out. Like the ladybugs come aggressively and clean them up like vacuum cleaners and all that. The only thing I've noticed that there's no balance for because there's no natural predators like in Japan are Japanese beetles. But I'm still convinced that Japanese beetles were released from
Yeah.
laboratories to
Yeah.
have
To make it
the
hard on us. Yeah.
Yeah.
well, it's to make sure that you go out and buy some form of insecticide to have to do that. Because look, everybody has a 9 to 5 from time to time, and they have to be busy, and they're not available to be in their garden all the time. So if you look at it, let's say the people who have to work and they're not basically as available as I am to go outside and basically get a cup of soapy water and just dump them in, you have to buy some type of insecticide. And the thing about the insecticide is that they're a neurotoxin, and that's what I don't like. You know what I'm saying? And they do some type of effect, even though they're organic insecticides, they do have an effect on the bees. Whether it be
Yeah.
diatomaceous earth or whatnot,
Mhm.
you can do a couple of things, but there's people who say that to attack these Japanese beetles, the best thing to do is buy these nematodes that you put in the soil and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's not just what you're putting in the soil. They're coming from the forest and
Yeah.
they're coming to your garden regardless. You know what I'm saying? If you're growing food or you have, especially blackberries, they love blackberries.
Yeah.
They go hard on those blackberries. So what I do is I put up trap uh, plants, and the ones they do like that I would have to use as a sacrificial plant are the morning glory plants. Unfortunately, I love them so much, but these Japanese beetles love morning glories. So you could put up morning glories, like 4 posts around your garden. They will actually attack those plants, but you do have to go outside and start getting soapy water and just.
So I don't, you might want to try this because I think this worked for me one year but I don't think I probably had them as bad as what you're talking about. I do the soap thing, but instead of olive oil, I throw a whole bunch of chili powder in it
You can use
because
that too, yeah.
the chili powder keeps a lot, like it keeps ants away. It keeps a lot of the ones that can kind of bypass the soap. The chili powder then takes care of them. And I don't care if any of my stuff comes out spicy. But you can also like just do it around the perimeter. You know what I mean? You can just do it around the perimeter. And so I actually would take one year, I had to take a big like water jug and I put my soap in it, my water in it, and then I just dumped a ton of chili pepper in it.
Yeah.
And then I just put it all around the perimeter of my plants. Because most things in nature that are going to eat your food, they don't like spicy stuff. That's why peppers grow so well.
Yeah.
Because nobody other than us really wants to eat it.
Mhm.
You can
Well,
use
we-
also you can use the garlic powder too.
Yeah, I use garlic. Yeah. Same as how
You know
you
what?
use cinnamon to keep
And
things
cinnamon.
out of the house. Also, I
And
will
cinnamon.
tell you, for me, I use rosemary to get rid of all of my sorts of pests. So I spiritually and for pests, I have rosemary at both of my doors. And the one in my back, she's a beast. I mean, and so if things start getting really bad, I'll cut some of her and I will burn her off. Like I'll smoke them out with my rosemary because bugs don't like rosemary.
Right.
And it's
Right.
good. It's good
Huh.
properties of protection also spiritually. So
Yeah, spiritually, I use essential oils. I use like lavender. I'll use
Yeah.
rosemary, the same thing. But I also like eucalyptus and spearmint. I use
yeah,
those
I'm
a
a big
lot.
eucalyptus. I love eucalyptus is my favorite. I want to figure out if I can grow it here.
You know what I use the eucalyptus for is when I'm pruning my squash or like my pumpkin. Whenever you do the plant release more of those things. So in order for you to mask it, you just take the eucalyptus and spray it, and it actually it doesn't let them know that you prune the plants because the plants do release a scent when you prune them. So when you use eucalyptus, it helps a lot too. That I know a lot worked really, really well.
Huh.
It masks the scent of the
Huh.
plants so that
So wait,
the
zigzag, because you
predators
cut out a
don't
little bit. I want to make sure I got this. So when you cut the plant away, or you have to break the, the pumpkin off or whatever, you spray a little eucalyptus on there, so it tells the
spray
plant
it,
like you're still
diluted
okay,
with water.
you're good. Okay. Over the wow.
That is
Because
very
whenever, like, you know what it is though, is that the pumpkins, they have runners. So
Yeah.
most of the time, in the beginning, you have to take out the first flowers, and you have to take out the first 2 leaves and whatnot, or the first 2 layers of leaves. But the runners, when you prune the runners, that's what encourages more fruit. The plant releases the scent. So that's what attracts those stink bugs that come in, pretty much
Okay.
suck the sap out of the plant.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
also attracts, I don't know if you've ever seen those vine borers.
Yeah,
Those are
I
terrible.
got them.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that you use eucalyptus to mask the scent of those too. So, but dilute it with water.
I think that's probably the most valuable information I received tonight. I hope a lot of people received a lot of good things. Yeah.
I never heard of that one, but I'm gonna have to try it. We got some questions, kind of, and sorta. Amber Dawn said something about she tried soapy water with the gnats, not ants, gnats in her house, on her house plants, and it didn't work. She says maybe putting that pepper stuff in there, like you were saying. Mary or Truth Seeker says Mary put the DE or the DE spray or pesticide stuff. Didn't work for her. She puts 3% neem oil in water. You ever hear of neem oil?
Neem,
Yeah. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
It's like
and-
organic pesticide, I believe. Yeah, the neem. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then where do you get what do you use diatomaceous earth for? Anyway, so that's a good question. What do you use it for?
Diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, what would you use that for?
That's a natural like pest deterrent.
Yeah.
It basically it's like crystal. They're like miniature crystals. And what happens is that like, let's say there's certain bugs that have like a strong exoskeleton. It actually breaks down that outer shell, but it destroys them. But it hurts the bees too to some extent. So you got to use it wisely and intelligently, and you shouldn't be let's say inhaling it either, because of those little microscopic crystals and whatnot. But everything in with proper use, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to know how to use it, but it does deter pests. It's organic. But from what I last read on it, it's like little crystals, and it pretty much destroys the bug.
Yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments. I think I know about the diatomaceous earth, but that would be something you could use on your house plants for sure.
Yeah.
Because the bees wouldn't get hurt on that.
Yep.
Yeah. I've never heard of that. Huh.
Yeah.
I use a
So you learned
paintbrush.
twice now tonight.
Yeah.
I use a paintbrush, and I just pretty much it's like a white powder.
Yeah.
And I just use a paintbrush to get it on the plants that I want to touch.
Nice. That's real cool.
Oh.
Huh. Dust the plants with food.
People
She
use
said.
borax
Mary Wynn
and
says same thing. She says dust the plants with food grade diatomaceous earth. That is cool.
Never heard of that.
Pamela Jean's in the house, and she says, now that I don't know if this doesn't make any sense. She says, what about vitamin pills? Would they work on our gardens? But I wish she'd clarify. That doesn't seem, I don't understand that, but maybe it'll make sense to you. Vitamin. What about vitamin pills? Would they work on our gardens? I don't know.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know. She needs to clarify. I wish. She says Mary Wynn says all bugs die from DE food grade. Huh. Okay. Well, that sounds good.
That's the diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, that's
All
the.
But it does hurt the bees. That's why you got to use it like
Yes.
responsibly, not getting on the flowers and whatnot. It has an effect. I mean, it kills the bad bugs, but it does hurt the bees. It also hurts. You see, there's certain bugs that I protect. Like I've got an army of praying mantises in my garden. Praying mantises, And
Yeah.
the thing is that there's certain bugs that may eat some of that bait that you put out, and then these predatory bugs eat those pests, and then they die because they got in, you know, they ate whatever you were trying to keep them away from, you know. So you just gotta be smart with it. That's why I don't use anything, to be honest with you. I use very minimal anything. So even if it's organic, I just let things rock. You know what I'm saying? The
My
only
finger just flick the damn things. No.
sometimes
That's what you use.
Yeah, soapy water. I go out and I just dump those Japanese beetles in a cup of soapy water. But everything else, basically, nature balances itself out. That, you ever heard nature always wins? Like, everything always balances out in nature. It doesn't matter. Like, you can have as many bugs. Just don't be scared. Everybody just, you know what it is? You're creating your garden with your mind as well. You know that?
Right.
And when you have a certain emotion toward the things you're doing, you're encouraging a negative effect on your garden. That's why I said, like, I don't panic. A lot of people panic when they see certain bugs or certain things happening. Don't panic. Just, you know, look at it, observe it, and things will balance out. It sounds crazy and cliche and like woo and whatnot, but it really, like, the garden is a very spiritual experience. You know,
And I
it's
say also talk to the pest and because I agree with everything you're saying. And for me, especially what I'm doing now in this house, because I found out that walnuts, the shell of a walnut, if you dry that out and use it as a tea, the properties are amazing, especially for your thyroid, so many stuff. So I have a bunch of squirrels. Yeah, we all have squirrels. They love those nuts. So I have talked to all the squirrels, hey, you can have the nuts, but leave me the shells. And they leave them just in a pile for me. I have yet to have the squirrels, the rabbits, anything, because I'm talking with them. Hey, I'll give you this if you just don't touch my stuff.
Absolutely.
I'll do this for you. Just don't mess with my stuff. And you work with the balance, not against it. Same with the bugs. If it's one that I know will eat a bunch of other stuff, hey, buddy, stay around. You know, eat up. The other ones, you better go or you're going to be eaten. You got to go. You're going to be gone. So I think the communication, the meditation properties, the getting your hands in the dirt, working with nature, not against nature, not trying to destroy nature just so we can eat something. Like with my peach tree right now, half of them are healthy, the other half are bad. Well, I'm getting rid of the bad. I'm not going to be completely upset with my peach tree just because some of her is sick. You know, you work with it, not against it. So I gotta say, the critters do not bother me the way they used to, because since I started, both my husband and I communicating nonstop with them. Even also if we had to be like, hey, I see you. Where are you going? I see you, you know. So it works.
You know what?
And
I mean, when you
every inch of nature is listening. And remember, our words are manifesting all the time.
That's right. That's right.
All the time. So if you're speaking to your garden, you're speaking to the nature, you say, hey, you can have the nuts because I know it's what you want. I want the shells. Yeah, they will leave all those shells for you in a little pile to pick up. You know?
The garden shouldn't be a stressful experience. It should be a loving, beautiful experience. Like, you're going to experience adversity because this is just the realm we're in. You know what I'm saying? But your intention behind everything you're doing, first of all, focus on the health of your plants by conditioning the soil ahead of time. If your soil is conditioned, your plants are healthy, your bugs won't even affect the plants that are healthy. You notice that bugs attack unhealthy plants? That's the thing. So you're starting the world or the universe, you're starting outside, is starting from the soil. You get what I'm saying? The soil is healthy.
From the inside, the growth. Yeah.
And the thing is that, you believe it or not, you want to know how far I go down to? I don't like killing the bugs, right? But whatever bugs I kill, right, I am actually in my mind transmuting those bugs into a higher evolutionary species. Maybe they'll come back as a praying mantis in the next life, or they'll come back as a human just because they got killed by a human. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You know, like, that's how far I go into it with my mind on like what I'm doing. But I also put up, like I said, I mean, I'm gonna do a walkthrough because you're gonna say I have. I'm telling you, I got statues. I got things that, in my mind, these things are protecting my garden as well. Like they're there as my workers when I'm not there. You know, it's
Right.
crazy, and it works.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it
Mhm.
works.
Mary
I
Wins
know.
must be a gardener because she says she's been talking a lot about gardening stuff. She's got a lot of really good ideas. She says gnats or fruit flies, apple cider vinegar in a small
Yeah.
dish, then add a drop of dish soap.
Yeah.
Catch
Hey,
some.
Grandpa Brian, do you use Reiki now on your garden? Because plants love it.
Oh, good question.
Great.
No, not really. I haven't
Oh,
really thought about that.
yeah,
I know
do
I
it.
do talk to them while I'm out there and communicate with them, but I've heard of people doing that, giving
When I
Reiki
first
energy to them.
plant,
I should try that.
yeah, when I first put after I got my soil and everything going, and I actually put the plant in the soil. Oh yeah, I'll do the symbol. I'm not gonna do it here, and I'll at least the first one, which I know you know, and I'll send them some of that positive energy and say, grow, baby, grow in love and light, grow healthy, and since I've done that. I think last year and this year is when I started, because you can also do that on your food. You can do it anywhere if you are trained in
Yep.
Reiki. And I'm telling you, the plants love it, especially if they do start hurting. If something's hurt them, well, then you use that to heal them. When I was working with my peach tree today, trying to get some of the bad off, I just walked around the base, different limbs, the branches, just doing the symbol in my mind and just sending that healing properties to her. So, try it. Because if you try it, I want to see how your response, if you see any response out of it.
You know what's crazy is that I feel like we're
Well,
doing Reiki naturally to them, even without knowing. Just like
Yeah.
because it depends how you're doing it. Like I'm not gonna go garden in a bad mood. I'm doing it in a good mood. I'm channeling like positive energy through them. Like I'm already using my heart again, the green
yep.
energy. That's what makes it a green thumb because you're actually using a feminine energy. That's nurturing energy. You're
Yes.
nurturing the plants, right?
Yes.
So the thing is that what I actually do, even this starts even from the seed, because everything that I have outside, literally 90% of it started from seed. I literally put it in my mouth and I make a hole and I spit the seed into the soil. And then I'm not even saying grow baby. I mean, I'm not saying grow baby grow. I'm actually saying, oh, you're gonna be a big plant. Like I'm actually declaring it to be a healthy big plant ahead of time by saying, oh, you're gonna be a big plant. And I'm spitting the seed out. I even piss on my trees, bro. I'm telling you, I literally urinate on my plants.
Lucky. No.
But again, it's like my chemistry is interacted with the plant from seed. You get what I'm saying? Just in my saliva, the intention, what I already declared,
Doing that with your saliva, that actually tells that seed to grow the best it can for your DNA, for your healing, for what you need to heal with, for what you need. So I'm usually one having to do the seeds. So it's either in my mouth or I take my finger to take it and put it in because I want, my poor husband is getting, I guess, all my DNA properties that are needed, but at least it's something. But everybody should be doing that. They should have their DNA also attached to that seed growing, because then it's going to grow for what your body needs.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
It reads all your deficiencies and whatnot. And this is like, and they say that it's like not scientifically proven. Some people say there are studies that prove that. Whatever it may be, it has it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? There is some logic to it. You're putting your saliva, you know what I'm saying? Because it's information to some extent, and it starts from the seed.
Yes.
And I can't see any better way to do it, especially when you're peeing, because the pee is nitrogen, and the urea, for example, for the berries are phenomenal. What do you think you buy when you go to Lowe's?
Don't pee on my berries.
If you go to Lowe's, you go to Lowe's and like Walmart, You
I'll
buy
get my husband to
fertilizer.
pee on the
You're
berries.
buying poop. You're buying bone meal, blood meal. So check this out. You want me to tell you what the best fertilizer is? I act like bone meal. Dead ass is like is processed bones. You know what I'm saying? My
Yeah.
dog eats raw necks, raw chicken. He eats raw fruits. When he poops, right? Because I lived in New York and I've had my fair share of stepping on like some nasty ass shit where
Yeah.
it smears on my shoe and it smells like death. You get what I'm saying? But if you look at my dog's shit, when he shits, it's like it looks like a little piece of chalk. You know what I'm saying? He'll eat this huge turkey neck, but his shits are this small. That means he absorbed the food. But when you step on it, it turns into powder and it looks exactly like what you buy in Walmart or Lowe's. It's bone meal. And you put that fertilizer to your plants and it's the best source of calcium for the plants, along with, of course, the dandelion root leaves because of the, you know, the way the roots go down into the earth. You get what I'm saying? But
Now, I
that's
do
what
want to
fertilizer-
just say for anyone listening, please note that he said his dog probably eats way different than most people's dogs.
Yes. Don't, if you're
So
feeding your
that's
dog
that's
food,
the
don't
key.
do
If
it.
you're giving your dog,
Dog food, don't do it.
crappy stuff and this and that,
Right.
please don't do that. You don't want to put that in your garden. Yeah.
And on top of that, if you're giving the dog cooked food, that's even worse. Do not give the dog cooked food. Again, I've made so many videos on this. I don't want to change the topic. I know there's a gardening video, but it's relevant because what the dog processes is actual fertilizer when the chemistry is correct. Even human poop should be fertilizer for the soil, but everybody's on pharmaceuticals.
Yeah.
The foods you buy in the supermarket are full of drugs. You get what I'm saying? And then on top of that, the foods we eat are not suitable for the garden for compost. You get what I'm saying? You're actually creating diseases like that because there's no such thing as diseases. It's just instability and imbalances. So when you process instability and imbalances, your body's getting rid of garbage. Like it shouldn't be in your soil, you know? So again, disclaimer, and I'm not making medical claims here or anything like that. So make sure everybody's aware of that. All right. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I do and it works. But my dog's eating totally different than everybody else, than every other dog. And if you're feeding it dog food, which I've made videos on dog food, it's probably one of the worst things you could give your dog. Don't use the poop, you know. But if you are gonna do it the way I'm doing it, the poop is very beneficial for your garden.
Zig Zag, what is your show? Because I'm curious. Sorry, Robert, I'm probably doing your job here. Sorry.
No,
I'm
that's fine.
curious though. What is your channel?
My channel, Zig Zag Zilla. Just look up that's
Zig
my
Zag Zilla. That's simple.
I've
Okay.
got over 300 videos, I think, on there. So
Cool.
Yeah, you talk a little bit about everything, whatever's on your mind.
yeah, I go
It's
deep into
awesome.
a lot of topics. Yeah. So.
Yes. Oh,
Wow.
absolutely, absolutely. And you know, you really know your stuff on. I mean, you've came a long way considering you lived in New York, where it's a cement jungle, to North Carolina and learning how to grow things. I mean, it's amazing. You know, people like myself, Grandpa Brian, we've been growing since we were kids, and our parents were growing, and we had huge gardens. I remember spending the whole summer was like, oh boy, it's garden season again. And then we're out there half day working in the garden every day, hoe the corn, hoe the beans, rototill, you know, geez, you know, pick the tomatoes, pick the corn, you know, mom's canning, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, she put up 100 jars of tomato juice and she's thinking about doing some more. And, we're going to do the corn, 100 quarts. We got to have 100 quarts, you stupid kids, you know, you guys want to eat this winter? You know, my goodness, you know, and we canned everything and stuff. And I know I got, where's my new canning book? I got a pressure canning book now.
Ooh.
And Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sending you another canning book. But anyway, she likes that stuff. But besides that, it's, you know, gardening is good for you. You guys hit on it numerous times. You know, gardening and you are, they work together. And that's what it comes. So grow something, people. Grow something, even if it's a pot with not pot, but I mean, if it's a plant in a pot, don't grow it. Finally got you to laugh, Grandpa Brian. Finally got you to rouse up there.
Even Robert, I gotta say, I know a lot of young people, and I even had a neighbor. She was older. She thought she could never grow anything in life. She had a really rough life. And I was like, you can do this. I gave her 2 simple pointers. And I just encouraged her, like, you can do this. Just walk. You got to make sure you water, pay attention. She grew this huge tomato plant. Her confidence skyrocketed because of one tomato plant. And I was like, this is amazing. So good for the earth, good for our souls, good for our bellies, good for everything. I love good for community. Let's share. You got so much of this. I got so much of this. Oh, you don't have any vegetables? Well, what do you have? You have, you have some bacon. I'll take some bacon. Whatever. You see what I'm saying?
You got some eggs. Eggs
Yeah,
also.
some eggs. Oh, I'm doing that this season. Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
You know,
I got neighbors with chickens, and we don't have chickens yet because my dog very much likes chickens. I don't think they would last long. And so that I know I'm exchanging vegetables for chicken or for eggs, for all that sort. Yeah.
You know, I want to make an important point here because I actually was told that, you know, there's certain people who ask me about the garden and whatnot, but they say that they don't have time or it's too much work. You know what I'm saying? See, here's the thing, though. You should never be a slave to the land. In actuality, the land works for you. It's only work in the beginning, the first couple of years, but after that, the garden takes over, and it's like it just gets easier and easier as you go along. For one, aside from it working for you, you just get so knowledgeable about it that it just doesn't even feel like work anymore. This, I feel, should be something that should be taught to kids, you know, from school and whatnot. And the reason why they call one like younger years, they're called elementary schools because they're supposed to go to school to learn about life. You go to the older school, they're called universities because you're supposed to learn more universal knowledge and whatnot. But I feel like this is what people should be doing more, as if we're going to have a human experience, is more or less being outside, more interacting with soil, interacting with nature and whatnot. I mean, as kids, they're in school 8 hours, then do like 3 hours of homework, and then you're an adult. They train you to be a worker, to be in a cubicle for 8 hours, and then go home, watch TV, go to work the next day, and then there's no connection to nature. You get what I'm saying? But this is where I feel like everything's kind of inverted. Like kids should be more involved into this area of like learning how to garden and how to work with the soil and whatnot. I feel like that's very good for their spirit, for their soul and whatnot as an individual. Health-wise, overall, I just even communication amongst, let's say, plants, people, animals. You know, how like even in the Bible they said, like, you know, we have dominion over the animals, but yet we go into the forest and we're fearful of all these animals, and then the animals are fearful of us. It's kind of like a mirror. You know what I'm saying? That animals are just mirroring back what you're giving out. You give out fear. That's why wolves, bears, they don't want to attack us. You know what I'm saying? They want nothing to do with us. If we're in their territory and they find us as a threat, then yeah, they're going to attack us. But funny how we're supposed to be able to communicate with animals the same way we're supposed to be able to communicate with plants, because plants, this is scientifically proven, they have a reaction toward people that walk by them. Like if they know that you're somebody that's going to hurt them, they'll actually have a reaction to you. And if they know you're friendly in the garden, they have a reaction to you. That's where the whole thing about green thumb and not being able to grow or having a connection to nature, or let's say some people just garden now because now it's a food shortage. Is that the right mentality to have to grow a garden? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of different things that just go into when it comes down to, like, you know, why you do things or how you do them, you know? But I want to make that point. It's not a lot of work. And once you know how to do it, it doesn't feel like work. It's easy to do it. You know, anybody could do it. It's just having a little bit of knowledge about it. And it just becomes second nature. You know, even if you do have a job, you could still do it.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like so much of an effort if you enjoy it, but it all starts with, like Courtney, like you said, your friend, she grew a tomato plant. It's one less tomato she had to buy from the store. You got to start somewhere. You got to get a 5-gallon bucket, Put some stuff, get
Yeah.
the swimming pool, like you said, buy that cheap swimming pool, put some dirt in it. There's your garden right there. Voila. Anyway, you got to start somewhere. I mean, and then you grow your
I love
garden
what
and huh?
No, what I was saying is I love what she said. She said the key word is it built her confidence. Once she grew the
Yes.
plant, her confidence built. That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
then
everybody
she
needs.
she then started doing all these other little plants, and I mean, I'm so proud of her just for because she just thought, oh, I'm never going to be able to. You know, I think we've all heard people say that.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
kill everything I touch.
Yeah, you don't.
No, you don't. You
Mhm.
just you have that in your mind. And I'm
Well-
gonna love on you, tell you a couple of things that maybe you haven't heard, and then you do it and you care, and it's great. And I do think it's funny when Zig Zag was just talking, we covered so many hermetic principles just in this conversation, from all his mind to all his energy to all his this and that, balance, order and balance, you know, that it's just, guys, it's in nature. It always has been. And I mean, the natives have been trying to tell us forever, especially how I was raised. So it's in you. Like, you know what I mean? It's in us regardless.
Well,
if
and,
you're
you
a
know,
human, it's in you to do this.
you know, this is going to sound really funny, but you know, if you, and I sometimes Bible has some really cool things to say about it, but if you really look at that story, real or not, the fact is that this God, whatever God it was, created Adam and Eve to do what? Tend the garden.
Yeah.
We were created.
Yep.
That's true. We were created to tend the garden.
Yeah.
How more real can you get to that? You know,
Yeah.
it's just kind of ironic and funny when you're talking about, it's a good blah, blah, blah. Well, there you go. Anyway, you know, so it's one of those things, that golden nuggets inside that book that, you know, now, you know, if you believe it or not, sometimes but I do believe there are gold nuggets in there.
Oh, the diamonds.
Yeah.
There's diamonds in there. Benjamin Franklin said, you know, 80% of the Bible is dung, meaning
yes.
But 20% is diamonds. So you need to read it for the diamonds. And I do believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you look at it that way, they were created to work in the garden. In the garden.
Yeah, we all know how. And going right back to the very beginning, when Zig Zag basically was saying he just locked in and remembered that he knows how. He just tuned into his past life or higher self, or remembered that aspect of who he is, and just did it. And we all, if we're human, because we had to do it at some point to survive, we all know how to do it. So even if it's not a survival thing, even if it is, just tap into that memory bank that is in us.
Yes.
And you can do it, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. And what a great way to end our show, because it's getting a little long in the tooth, but I'm happy for everybody who came and stuck with us through the rest of the night here. Amber had a good one on there about the pot plant, but potting plants. I mean, excuse me. Yeah. See, I said it right. But anyway, Jackie J says she was interested in your moon class, a manifesting moon class. So Jackie, just go check her out. Mary put the link of her YouTube channel in the, so thank you, Mary Wynn. So
thank you, Mary. Jackie.
She's got you covered. Let's see who else came. Pamela Jean was in the house tonight. She had a bunch of good comments about she's going to try something with that vitamin thing. I don't quite know what it is, but she's going to conduct the experiment, and I hope she gets back to me on that one, because I think Julie Stowe is in the house. She says that morning glories are so invasive in Washington, they can literally choke out your plants. So there you go. Different state, different stuff happening there.
Wow.
Go figure with that. But anyway, thank you for everybody who come. And I'm sure I missed some people. Elderberry was in the house. Julie Stowe, Max Vision. Max has probably got a show on right about now. So after you get done here, go over to check him out and do some you know, stuff with your brain. You know, get there and do that remote viewing. Figure it all out. It's mind power. Regardless of what you look at it, manifesting, remote viewing, it's all in your mind, and you got a lot
Gardening.
going on. Gardening, it's manifesting. Thank you, Zig Zag Zilla, for coming on tonight. And you know, hopefully everybody goes over there. I know I will. I want to see what your garden looks like. I'm all excited. Grandpa Brian, what a great garden. I hope in August I can make it out there and eat some of those vegetables you got in that garden.
Yeah.
You better
Yeah,
save me some of
another
them
thing that I
cherries.
do with my yeah, another thing that I do with my garden, I put crystals out in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That energy, the plant loves the energy of them crystals, and they will grow bigger. I'm telling you,
Nice.
try it.
Nice.
Robbie, you remember last year when we did a show? I have organite. You ever heard of organite, Grandpa Brian?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I've got that every
Organite.
week.
Oh yes.
So I
Nice.
make organite. I make organite plates, pyramids, and pods, and I put it
Very
all
cool.
over. And believe it or not, man, you could even see frogs or even the turtles. They come to the garden because they're attracted to the organite, and
Yeah.
that really helps a lot
Energy.
too.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. The crystals
Oh
work.
yes.
Yeah,
That's really
definitely.
cool. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, I forgot all about that. Cool.
Also,
Courtney, you
like
gotta
in
have to
your
try
house
that.
plants, you can use house plants to also cleanse your crystals if you need to.
Oh, really?
You
Didn't know
can,
that.
because
Huh.
it's from the earth. It can be, the earth cleanses us. It cleanses itself. So yeah, I have certain well, I use more rocks because I just like raw material more, but I have my rocks and certain crystals in there. If they need to be cleansed, I stick those babies in my dirt. Yeah.
Cool.
It can happen.
Do you use the moon to cleanse any of the
Yes, I
crystals?
do. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. On the 14th, I'm getting busy on that. So,
Yes,
and
Robert.
yes, I got to get on it. I can't be lazy. Remember, I always tell everybody, and I got to do the same. If you want something done, or you want to do anything, you got to put in the time. You got to do the work. You got to read the book. You got to plant the garden. You can't get the vegetables if you got the seeds in your hand and you go, well, I don't know why they didn't grow.
And because I don't think I said this before, there is a 25-page PDF attached to the class that I teach,
Yes, I got it.
which will be divided into two. So,
Yes,
Robert, go back and look at that.
I will. I'm
And
going to go
think
back
about
and
what you want to do.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I'll make a video on it. Don't you worry. I got
Awesome.
camera in hand. I'm right on it.
Good.
All right. So anyway, thank you all for coming. Courtney, thank you. Grandpa Brian, Zig Zag Zilla, thank you. We'll have to do this all again. Remember, we did a few shows on what was it? Healthy start or something like that. Staying healthy with you, Zig Zag. We gotta do some more of that. We had some great shows to add to the other shows, and it's a new year. We're gonna hit it hard again, and hopefully we can get a few under our belt this time. So
I'm very grateful for speaking with you guys, and thank you for inviting me on the show. A big pleasure meeting you, Courtney, and Grandpa Brian, talking to you again. Grateful for the show, so thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Me too.
all right, and remember everybody.
Thank
and
you.
with that, thank you all. Remember, be the frequency you want to receive. I love you all. We'll be here again, same time, same place. Peace, everybody.